Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back for round 3 of the RaceFace.Pro PokerBet GT3 Sprint Series here at Suzuka. It is going to be a very action-packed race over here at Suzuka, one of the more punishing tracks on our calendar. Lots and lots of tire degradation around here, and it is going to be an absolutely phenomenal one. My name is Tristan Herbst, taking you for commentary here for the round 3 of the Sprint Series. Unfortunately, not joined by our fellow commentator of Stephen Koenig. Unfortunately, Steven just having a bit of a rough time and having a bit of a recovery right now from a little bit of an incident that he had in real life. So for everyone in the virtual grandstand who is watching, I appreciate it if you would go and put in the virtual grandstand hashtag #SendItSteven. We want him to have a beautiful recovery. Send it as fast as GT3 is doing. Get back on the microphone, as everyone loves that miraculous voice. Thank you very much for that, and let's get back to the awesome action. Remember, hashtag #SendItSteven. But once again, back to the qualifying action here for round 3 at Suzuka. It is going to be an incredible one. We saw something, loads and loads of action last week at Valencia. Valencia obviously also being one of our very heated up tracks. Lots of left and right corners, but obviously a lot less gradient that we see at Valencia, being a little bit more of a flat track. Now we're at Suzuka. Lots and lots of gradient comes into play here. The car often turning almost 5 to 6 degrees on its left to right hand sides as it passes through the corners here on the Japanese circuit, and it's going to start to test all of our drivers' patience as they send it around track here for 45 minutes. We do have 10 minutes left of this qualifying session though, and everyone's still busy trying to find their way. Giovanni Porzio, currently the fastest driver out on track with a 1 minute 58.6. Incredible start though to this session, already a sub 2 minute, actually a sub 1 minute 59. So incredible stuff from him. And we've already got some people in the virtual grandstand saying send it Steven. We hope for that speedy recovery. And back on the microphone, but back onto where we are on the racetrack now. Tariq Adam 5,000ths of a second behind Giovanni Porzio. Very close action here at Suzuka. Lots and lots of drivers that have been putting a load amount of practice. I know some of the guys over Omnius Gaming have been putting a lot of practice in, making sure that that car is ready. We know Suzuka can be quite challenging at times, especially because of how deteriorating it can be. And the longer you sit on the circuit, the longer and the worse that the car can slowly start to become. Thankfully tonight, only sitting out for 45 minutes, but we do stretch out for an hour and 20 minutes tomorrow night for the RaceFace.Pro PokerBet GT3 Championship for round 3 at Suzuka, which is going to be a fantastic one. Remember to keep your eyes peeled for that. Further down, though, on our grid, as everyone also starts to form up, Henry Mayer now 1/100th of a second behind Tariq Adams, down in third position, pushing it. The last season's champion for the sprint and the championship series here at RaceFace. He's trying to prove that the top gun can still send it around track faster than all of the new guys, and he's going to be doing so already in front of Luke Addison. Luke Addison 5/10 now behind Henry Mayer and a couple of the drivers in front. Fleming Bauer also doing an incredible job, up into 5th place already for the Martian Racing team, and he's going to continue to progress throughout the night. Bego Krubler still chasing down for the Hybrid Racing Pro 1 team. He's had a great race last week at Valencia, and he's looking to bring it back around for the sprint race over here at Suzuka to see if that Ferrari can do the same as what he hopes for. A little bit wide there at Suzuka, but thankfully the track limits through that final chicane are a little bit lenient towards the end point of that straight. Everyone else, though, forming up. Jason Gray, one of our new competitors, actually has not been here for the past couple of races for the Proton competition Mustang. Very nice color scheme of the gold and black. You don't often get to see the gold and black, but we get to see it tonight. Henko van den Berg also sending it around track. He's currently in the pit lane. Unfortunately, Daniel de Villiers, though, the hitman, the PWSO Alpha driver in the Nismo, currently the only driver, I believe, in our entire championship in the Nismo. So incredible stuff from him. Christoph Peterson in the Honda, also down in 14th right now, 1.8 seconds off of the pace. So he's going to need to try and improve that. Vessel Voda also sending it around for the Kramadulas Racing. If you remember him from last season, he transitioned from the Mercedes, coming now to the McLaren, trying a little bit more mid-engine vehicle, getting a little bit more rotation around the corners. But for our sprint tonight, and often you don't get to see it as well, the Audis are coming into play. We've got our usual, as you know him, up into 6th position, Juan Duplessis for the Ragioli Esports car, that beautiful green and black monster-looking Audi sending around track. And then obviously we also have our German sending around track, Darius Shemilski, for the Logitech and the Logistical Nightmare Racing team, also sending it beautifully around track in the Audi. I'm sorry, guys, I'm going to be biased towards the Audi because it's also the car I drive. I love how it drives. That's Bernard Barquez and parking it off track. Very, very weird car to drive in terms of differentiation compared to other cars. Very, very high in rotation. That back end does love to play a lot, but it does help around here at Suzuka, especially with these high flow corners. So that previous guy we just saw go off, Bernard Barquez, and in the KSR factory team, currently sitting in 8th place, 0.9 seconds off of the pace. Max van der Merwe also sending around the Omnius Gaming Nitro driver, coming from the Porsche 992 last season, now transitioning into the Ferrari, looking for a little bit more stable car, as we do know that the rear engine Porsches do take a little bit of taxing with that rear engine placement. The rear end does like to throw it around sometimes, and deciding to play it a little bit more safer. Tinus Buerta also still remaining nice and safe in the McLaren, down in 21st. Johan Viviers, the father of Joan Viviers, not to get the two confused, also setting it greatly around the track here for hybrid racing. He's going to continue to do so for the rest of the race. Henry Platt, the other Omnius Gaming Nitro driver in the McLaren, also doing an incredible job. Finished off 3rd place last season in the championship for Pro-Am, and now he's trying to test his luck in the Pro Division for the championship, and still sending it around track in our mixed division sprint series. Hank Peters also in the hybrid racing, trying to keep that car settled. He's had a bit of a challenging start to our season, as we have seen him in the past couple of races, just trying to get that car and under control, and sometimes losing it when he doesn't like to. We did see him go off, unfortunately, in Valencia in the main race, and he's looking to try and bring it back here for Suzuka. Renfree and the Pandassi infiltrate Mercedes. Also, not a lot of Mercedes is out on grid. We've got Renfree and we've got Dean Dupree also a little bit further down there in 33rd. But also a very interesting car to drive. Lots and lots of power under that hood of that V8. It can eat curbs for breakfast, but sometimes coming out of those corners, it can oversteer heavily due to the amount of power that it can produce. Alvin Priam in the Team Tryhard Racing car, also sending her on track. Unfortunately, not getting that livery sync. That might be from my side. Unfortunately, getting everything set up was a tad bit of a rush, and I apologize for not being able to get my sync in time. And that is exactly why we don't see some of our liveries out on track tonight. Chris Bauermeister, though, the Bauermeister racing car, also trying to keep that car nice and settled. 9.5 seconds off of the pace, but trying to keep the car consistent. We know Suzuka is all about consistency. It doesn't matter if you can, set consistent hot laps during qualifying. What matters is when you put in that huge amount of fuel, that 40 liters to go, and send it around track to see if it can carry you across without any form of damage or losing the car. Harrod Bukes knows it. He's in the Stinger Racing team this time. We saw him last season in the Sim Alpha SRS, rocking the same livery, the Yellow Hornet, and now he's rocking his own team, the Stinger Racing, sending it beautifully around track. Johan Verveers, though, one of our contenders in the Pro-Am division for the championship, currently sitting in the pit lane with no pit stops done. I think that is due to a potential qualification ban that did come in from our stewards box. So actually, let's go and have a quick look at our stewards box to see if we have any form of other drivers who are currently struggling after that second round at Valencia. So we do have Rowan van der Walt. He's currently also, he's got a qualification ban for round 3. Not even sure if he's here tonight, but he does have a qualification ban for round 3. Let's just quickly get onto someone who's sending it around track. There we go. So qualification ban for round 3. Virtua Berta served his at Valencia, and then Juan Verveers. Yep, he's got a qualifying ban for Suzuka. So those are the only 2 drivers with qualifying bans for Suzuka who do need to still get that done. And that's exactly why you see them sitting in the pit lane. There's Rowan van der Walt. Actually not in the server just yet, so staying out for qualifying, and will join once the main race starts. But still, currently, with the fastest lap of the session and a blistering fast time of 1:58 flat in the McLaren, Tariq Adam in the Ignites team is sending it around track over here. He's got Kieran Patterson chasing him down. Best is a 1:58.4, so currently 4/10 behind Tariq Adam. He's still got 2.5-ish minutes to try and send it on track, but you can see he's starting to struggle as he's pushing as hard as he can in that front-engine Mustang. Giovanni Porzio also in third, 1:58.6, currently 6/10 off of Tariq Adams, and everyone just trying to make do with what they can. Luke Addison also down into 4th position, 1:58.697, so practically a 1:58.7, also trying to keep up with the top pack over here, but 6/10 difference to the top runner will provide a little bit of difficulty, especially when starting to try and bring it back on the top of the grid. Van der Skuman, though, someone who you don't usually see challenging very up high in the top 5. The Pandasti Infiltrate driver, currently 1:58.7. So incredibly fast time as he sends it around track. And he's going to continue to do so throughout the rest of the night over here. Henry Mayer, though, down into 6th position. And his arrival from last season, Bernard Barquez, down also further in 9th with a 1:58.9. So a little bit of gaps here forming between all of these drivers. And we'll have to see how that progresses out. But looking back to our virtual grandstand, Regalodian joins us. Also, Reginald Mitteleni, one of our drivers who I believe is taking a bit of a break for this season, as we haven't seen his name appear, but he was here last season, saying, let's see them times, ladies and gents, as everyone begins to wrap it up now with 1 minute and 30 seconds left. This is usually where you see the quick laps come in, everyone using those final bits of energy to push that extreme setup to the limits, trying to push that car as hard as they can for the last couple of minutes here. It's all or nothing with 1 minute left to get that qualifying session done. This will determine where you start on the grid. Daniel Rowe chasing on the top 10 right now, 1:59 flat, currently almost a second off of Tariq Adams in first, so trying to make do with what he can to pull it up further. And looking down further to our grid, Harry van Zyl in the Pandasny Infiltrated Mustang, also sending around in 13th position, 1:59.2, as everyone else tries to pull it around. Gideon Rayner now joins us also on track, the Omnius Gaming PokerBet driver. I don't think he was in session earlier, but currently with a 1:59.7, down in 19th. So trying to chase a couple of the high-paced drivers. But I must say, 1:58 flat is an incredibly fast time from Tariq Adam. That's like 5/10 off of the some of the fastest laps that you see internationally. I mean, these are some of the fastest guys internationally, not even the fastest guys locally in South Africa. These guys are some of the fastest in the world, and that's what we love to see here. The competition is heatful, and it's very, very warm and hot here at RaceFace, with everyone setting blistering lap times as they try and prove that worth. Henry Plateau chasing down his teammate right now, best lap of a 2:01.1 as he tries to send it around track behind Gideon Rayner, maybe to try and follow the lines a little bit. Both mid-engine placement cars, potentially similar driving style, so we'll see how that plays out. Ren Paris a little bit further down as well with a 2:01.9 as they still try and make their way out track. Darius Shemilski, though, down in 24th with a 2 minutes flat as they still try and pull it around track. But now qualifying is officially over. We've got a max wait time of 2 minutes. Darius Shemilski going a little bit off there as he starts to lose the bottom end of that Audi. A very challenging car around this track, but Tariq Adam will sit right now with a 1:58.0. With that being finished, he is still currently on a flying lap, so we'll see if he can go even faster. I think it'll be mental if he can go even faster. It doesn't look like he's taking the best lines right now as he progresses through the sectors here, But everyone else behind also still on hot laps. Kieran Patterson sending her on track, trying to break through that 4/10 behind. Bernard Barkhuizen sets a blistering lap time up into third with a 1:58.5. Incredible stuff from him. Just a little bit further down now, and but that means his qualifying session is over. Giovanni Porzio also still sending it around track, trying to pull a little bit closer up to Kieran Patterson and Tariq Adam. But like we say, these are final laps for a couple of drivers. Henry Mayer, Quan Duplessis, Dino Kia, also Dino Kia and Henry Mayer sitting in pit lane, but Quan Duplessis still on that flying lap. Here comes Tariq Adam and Kieran Patterson as they finish it up. Kieran Patterson coming across the line now. Will it be a Foster or an improvement? And could he potentially dethrone Tariq Adams as he comes across the line? Coming across a little bit slow. And I don't think it's going to be Foster. It was Foster indeed. Not fast enough to dethrone Tariq Adams as he also comes across. Not Foster from his previous. And everyone else forming up behind. Giovanni Porzio not able to get in front of Bernard Barkhuizen as everyone else slowly starts to come through. Henry Mayer already in the pit lane. Gideon Reyna also was back there. Sending it around track. He also unfortunately not able to get the time he wanted. Very far further down the grid though right now for Gideon Reyna as he sits nicely down in 16th right now, unfortunately. Mac van der Merwe also down in 19th. But that is the end of our qualifying session here for round 3. We're going to quickly go to a quick breaker and then we'll see you guys on the grid for the starting grid. Alrighty then, ladies and gentlemen, we are officially back on grid now, getting ready. Everyone's starting to form those race setups as we are almost about to get going for 45 minutes of hardcore racing here at Suzuka. 6 o'clock at night on track, which means it will slowly start to get a little bit dusky and dark as everyone does start to get around for this 45 minutes. Tomorrow night might start looking a little bit worse with that 45-minute race going on. But we'll have to see how it progresses over here. Everyone starts to stand on the grid. Let's go up to Tim with the helicam to try and see our insane grid slot that we see over here. There is an immense amount of cars here. 38 total cars round up our grid. You can see Juan Viviers and Ron van der Walt, the two drivers who had to serve penalties for qualification bans here at Suzuka, starting from the back of the grid. One point though, yes, it is a disadvantage of starting at the back, but you do have a full overview of the grid and you can potentially miss out on incidents, especially turn 1 here at Suzuka. It comes from a very wide starting straight to a very narrow turn in that becomes extremely sharp as we head into the S's. So we'll have to see how that shapes up here. We haven't seen it before because the last time we raced Suzuka in our race face calendar was quite a while ago, and the competition has evolved. So we'll have to see how it changes. But before we do start our formation lab, let's have a look at our virtual grandstand. Bertus Hugo sending us a little bit of a celebration face, ready and packed for this race. Getting started as well. Benjamin Till, evening all. Let's go, Boss B. Everyone saying evening, let's get going. And everyone's super excited to head off here for Suzuka. Very tough track. I've driven it myself. I did a little bit of practice for it earlier today as well. It is a monstrous of a track to keep a car stable. The car does like to send itself around here and keep you on your toes, very much so. Lots and lots of left and right bends. The tires get hot very quickly, and everyone has to play that safe. That practice of continuousness is going to come in handy here. If you're joining in for this race and qualifying session, and you've only done about an hour or two of practice, you are going to struggle here compared to the guys who have put in a little bit more hours, and they know how this track feels. They know the car, they know how it sends it around here, and they will have the advantage in the upper hand here. So we'll have to see how it all plays out. But looking back also, our virtual grandstand, Riga Loading saying T1 has the Fifi slide effect with cold wheels on lap 1. Absolutely incredible. I don't think I could word it better. Turn 1, and personal experience from myself, cold tires and cold brakes coming into turn 1 is the worst combination that you can do. So if you don't do some brake dragging and tire warming up here in your formation lap, or you start to lose that warmth coming to the end of your formation lap, that braking zone down into turn 1 might become a little bit brutal as everyone starts to do the concertina effect and group up together. it could be a little bit dangerous here, guys. I would prepare yourselves. We could be seeing a little bit of bumper-to-bumper action here and potential damage back to the pit lane, but we're hoping that does not happen as everyone starts to prepare themselves. The nerves are shaking through the bodies of these drivers. Tariq Adam leads a grid of 38 cars coming into round 3 over here. He's got Kieran Patterson behind him and a couple of other very fast drivers. Bernard Barkhuizen, our second runner-up from last season, season 19 and season 12 respectively for the sprint and championship. And further down, Henry Mayer in second, our season winner from last season of season 19 and 12. Everyone is getting ready. We can see it as everyone starts to line up. Everyone is starting to get themselves. The nerves are shaking like we mentioned, but everyone wants to get themselves in a steady state. Get those tires warmed up, get those hands warmed up, put both earphones on, stop talking to mom and dad in the background as they wish you luck. It's time to put the focus on, take a sip of water, and send it for 45 minutes. It's not a lot of time because that time dissipates extremely quickly. We're looking at about 2 minutes a lap here. So essentially, it's about 10 laps over, well, 2 minutes a lap is about 20 minutes. So it's about, I'm not going to do the math. I'm actually thinking very stupid right now. I'm trying to do the math of 2 minutes a lap. And, you know, if you times that by 10, it's 20. So if you times that by 20, so it's going to be about 22 or 23 or so laps of racing here. Okay, cool, guys. I just had to realign myself there with the mathematics. It was not mathing at all, but we are back on track now. Thank goodness. So we're looking at about 23 hardcore laps here around Suzuka as everyone starts to prep themselves onto 130R straight. As we get ready, you can see how the drivers are getting themselves warmed up. A couple of the hybrid racing drivers, Daniel Rowe, Dino Kia in the background, you can see them swiveling those cars, trying to get those tires nice and warmed up, ready to put the pace on. This is going to be incredible. Benjamin Till, thank you for confirming it for me. 23 laps of racing here at Suzuka. This is going to be action-packed. Jarvis joining in on the virtual grandstand saying, let's go, boys. Cheering on his teammates at Omnius Gaming. We've got Gideon Reyna currently leading the Omnius Gaming pack in 16th. And a couple else to follow. Mac van der Merwe a little bit further on in the background. And then a little bit further down the line, we have Henry Platt in 29th, also trying to keep everything as consistent and clean as possible. But, ladies and gentlemen, we have got the concertina effect playing in now for our formation lap as everyone begins to line up and get ready for the start here for round 3 of the RaceFace.Pro PokerBet GT3 Sprint Series. It's looking to be a wild one, and we'll have to see how this ends up going. Tariq Adam does have the inside line, and he will hold it down to turn 1. But can he stay safe with the sheer 37 cars that follow behind? He's got the car next to him with faster straight line speed. The Mustang roaring, Kieran Patterson getting ready for it. You can see everyone lining up. Who will it be heading down into turn 1? My prediction is Tariq Adam as he's got the inside line. But we're almost ready for the green flag. There you can see the start-finish line about to cross over. The green flag's being waved by Tim at the pit box. And here we go, Tariq Adam holding the inside line. You can see how catastrophic it gets. Oh, Barmius is already off in the background as everyone starts to formulate into turn 1 over here. It's looking clean so far as we progress through our entire grid over here. Everyone holding it nice and tight. You can see actually phenomenal start here for round 3 here at RaceFace. Incredible stuff as everyone holds tight lines. Little bit of bumper action as we can see over there. A couple drivers making contact, and the concertina effect is coming into play. So, a little bit of an accident that we saw at the start there. Oh, big accident, unfortunately. Very, very big accident. Lots of drivers going off. That, I believe, was Quan Duplessis. Let's flash back here. 30 seconds to see this overall start here. Incredible scenes. I spoke too soon, and there comes commentator's curse because everything was looking so good until it wasn't. Quan Duplessis, pressure from Dino Kia, and he gets the tap from Dino Kia. Controls the car. Then he comes back, swings in, touches the Ferrari a little bit. Oh, and there's the action, unfortunately, just making contact with the rest of the cars. Gideon Reyna gets involved in that. A couple of drivers just not getting what they want in there. You can see so many drivers impacted by that drive. Quan Duplessis down all the way into second. Chris Barmius apparently in first place. Definitely not happening right now as Tariq Adam does lead our grid. And lots and lots of pressure for him behind. Kieran Patterson and Giovanni Porzio putting pressure. Bernard Barkhuizen did not get the start he wanted, dropping down from 3rd down to 5th. He's now got his championship rival from last season putting pressure. Henry Mayer does also continues to build here, but we do have lots of drivers who have already positioned themselves and gapped it through the grid. Chantal Hansen a little bit further down on the grid as well. You can see some of these drivers who were involved in that accident now spreading out completely, and you can see the damage on some of those cars. Henk Petersen and Henko van den Berg actually also not getting the start that they wanted. You can see the Henko van den Berg, lots of damage on the front of that Ferrari after that S-section accident. So unfortunate scenes from them, I believe. Let's go and try and find Gideon Reyna. He was directly involved in that. We saw him go full send into Quan Duplessis, and you can see the damage on the front of that Ferrari. And that damage will cause a little bit of time decay to his total time. Unfortunate stuff. But thankfully, everyone's still managing to keep it on track and clean for the time being. A couple of drivers going in. Jason Gray into the pit box to get repairs done. Remember, no pit stops here for the sprint series. Oh my goodness, look at the damage on those cars. Vietia Buerta once again involved. That Ferrari's got scratches everywhere. Unfortunate scenes for both of them as they have to pull in, get those changes done. Dariusz Szymilski, you can see a little bit of damage on the front of that Audi as well. He's seen a couple of things here at the start of this race. Now up on the inside line of Ron van der Walt. Will he be able to hold it? He's got a little bit of the better acceleration out of the corner with the Audi, but it's not going to be enough as they head over the very fast right-hander curve. Oh, a couple of drivers went off there. I believe that's Henko van den Berg, who just lost traction, unfortunately. And that corner has claimed a couple of victims. Let's go on board with him. As you can see, he actually gets a bit of a tap there and gets sent off into the gravel. Thankfully, there's gravel and not just a wall in the middle of nowhere. So everyone's still striving on as they send it around. But incredible start for round 3 here at Suzuka. A couple of more drivers who are still managing trains right now. Mac van der Merwe has got a couple of drivers behind. Ryan Barrington-Smith and Gideon Reyna still behind him, and a very, very long queue as well. Anno Stadler in the Martian Racing also joining in that queue. The battle for 15th is on. And wow, incredible scenes for the start of it. But Saki Goes Borsi's in our virtual grand saying, was about to say that it was the best start I've seen in a while. That's exactly what I said, and unfortunately commentator skills came into play, and that did not end up being what we wanted to see. Unfortunate scenes. Chris S54 saying, good to see Kieran Patterson back on grid. It is definitely good. Like we mentioned, Kieran Patterson went to go smack some sixes in real life, have a little bit of fun with cricket. He's now back with sim racing once again for the PWSR team. He's now at the Mustang. We know Kieran notoriously for that Honda NSX that he's very infamously good at, but now back on grid, chasing down Tariq Adams. Currently the fastest driver on grid, Tariq Adams, with a 1:59.4 as he sends it around track here for Suzuka. Giovanni Porzio also still holding on. Luke Addison in the ITV Esports also still further on and holding on, but Bernard Barkhuizen is wanting to try and redeem from that poor start, and that's exactly what he's going to do, chasing down everybody in front of him to try and make it count. Further down on our grid though, Daniel Rowe is stuck as well in a bit of a sandwich. He's got Dina Kier behind, and unfortunately the back marker of the new driver Jason Gray, who's a little bit in between right now of the front running pack of here. That pit stop for him to repair the car has unfortunately offset him, and as you can see they're having to give way for Dina Kier to get past. Up on the inside line over there, good sportsmanship from the back marker to let everyone get past him safely. Everyone else though still forming on grid. Mac van der Merwe still holds off this queue. A little bit of gapping actually going right now. Brian Barrington-Smith pulling away from Gideon Reyna. And Anro Stadler also further behind, pulling it around track. Vessel Voda currently under pressure. Oh, lots and lots of action there. Oh, Henry Platt almost losing the car over there. Very, very, very nerve-wracking from him over there, as you can see. Gets a little bit of a tap from the big Mustang. Almost loses the car, but thankfully manages to hold on there. Very close for the Nitro driver, as he manages to keep the car clean. That was looking a little bit scary. Ron van der Walt putting the elbows out and showing that he's not afraid to race. Now chasing down the only Porsche on grid, the rear engine car, with a little bit of struggle as he sends it around. Gets taken over by the bigger engine Mustang down into the 130R bend. He does have the better rotation, but the Mustang does have the speed to carry through. But he does also have a lot of damage. Here goes Henry Platt looking around the outside line. Now overtaking Jean Mostat. I think he's actually letting a couple people go past. He's struggling in that Porsche with the damage, and he's not enjoying it at all. He might actually pull into the pit lane, and that's exactly what he does. Pulls into the pit lane, just too much damage for him, unfortunately. and he's going to get that sorted out before he heads back out on track and chases down everyone else. Further up though, still on the grid, Giovanni Porzio now holds the fastest lap of this race. 1:59.1 from the Ferrari driver, sending it still nicely around track. Bernard Barkhuizen now seeing pressure from his championship rival. We saw them earlier, there was a little bit of gap between them, but now here Henry Mayer not very far off. And actually, funny enough, these two drivers going together and will be teaming up this weekend for the SRO finals race. We actually had the qualifiers earlier this year, if anybody remembers, with RaceFace, the community qualifiers. And the two drivers who did come out of that were Bernard Barkhuizen and Henry Mayer, going to represent RaceFace.Pro at SRO, which is going to be an incredible feat with SimGrid. And we'll have to see how they do. But currently for tonight, they're not teammates, they are rivals fighting each other out. And we'll have to see how everything burns out and turns down. Daniel Rowe still chasing down Werner Skuman in the big Mustang. We're going to have to see again. It's been a fight throughout the season so far with the Mustang versus the Ferrari. The Ferrari, one of the more common cars on grid, has been fighting lots of Mustangs, taking on a little bit bigger enemies, trying to just battle it around with the momentum and rotation of their Ferrari. But the Mustang, with the straight line speed and the ability to eat curbs for breakfast over the Ferrari, does prove an advantage, especially here at Suzuka with the straight lines by 130R and the main straight. You can see now how Werner Skuman does slowly start to pull off. You can see it on his rear view cam as he just manages to just start pulling away from Daniel Rowe just from holding the accelerator pedal, and that's exactly what you see with the Mustang and its big V8 engine. Further down the grid though, Ryan Barrington-Smith has made headway. He's made an overtake on Mac van der Merwe, and he's slowly starting to progress, but we do see Dariusz Szymilski in that fight. He's unfortunately down to 34th, so not too great from him. But John Mostert gets the worst penalty possible in ACC. Unfortunately, a stop go 30-second time penalty. Essentially, he's got to go stop in his pit box, wait for 30 full seconds without getting anything done to the car, and then pulling the car out again to continue racing. It is the longest pit stop, and it will take about a minute of time out of his lap. That's almost half of a lap that he has to waste standing still in a pit lane. So unfortunate stuff from him, and that is unfortunately probably due to speeding into the pit lane earlier that we saw, or actually speeding out of the pit lane, just gearing up a little bit too quickly and clocking off the speed limiter. Jason Gray, though, also trying to fight back up. We saw him make an early pit stop this race, unfortunately, from the damage from that first S's incident, and now trying to make it count once again. Gideon Reyna, though, now actually getting pressure from Dariusz Szymilski and Anro Stadler further behind, and a little bit further on is our Mustang drivers. They're further behind, but they're, I believe, in the front pack as everyone chases around. Now, I believe that Mustang driver is a little bit further down. That is... I believe it's either Dean Dupree or it's Ren Ferree. I believe it is Ren Ferree trying to catch back up. The back marker right now in the Mercedes car, just trying to make things count as he can. He's got 35 minutes left of racing here. I mean, my goodness, that's nothing. That's like an LFM race, and those take like nothing. So, yeah, not a lot of time for him to progress, and he's going to have to try and bring it back for the Pandacity team and try and see what he can do around Suzuki here for 35 more minutes. Fleming Bauer, though, a little bit of consistency coming from his side. A 2-minute flat as he chases down Carrie van Zyl in front of him, and Christoph Peterson in the Honda doing incredibly well. We know the Honda, a very challenging car to drive, and he's making it light work right now around Suzuka. Also, Suzuka not one of the easiest tracks to send it around, and he is showing his absolute pure performance as he sends it around track. We'll have to see how he does further on with that. Daniel de Villiers, though, still sending it around track as well, and trying to maintain that gap to Bego Krubler, as Bego Krubler now starting to put pressure on him. A little bit of a faster lap time as well, as Bego Krubler is catching up to Daniel de Villiers, and that is going to slowly start to progress further. Again, like we mentioned, the only Nismo driver out on track, and still doing a phenomenal job. Nismo, one of the nice cars, not a lot of setup availability for it because of its unpopularity, but we do know Daniel de Villiers has always had a sweet spot for that Nissan GTR. He's always driven it whenever he can, and I believe he had a lot of fun in that AMR versus Nissan Manufacture Cup that we had in our off-season break. That was quite a cool event that we hosted here at RaceFace, and that's one of the nice things about RaceFace. When we go into our season breaks, we host our mid-season races and mid-season competitions so that we don't leave people bored and nothing left to do. So those obviously just for fun, but lots and lots of fun nonetheless. Further up on grid though, Henry Platt is now actually losing out a little bit to Bernard Barkhuizen, and he is starting to feel the pressure a little bit more from Van der Schoeman. We saw him earlier on the tail of Bernard, but now Van der Schoeman on the tail of him. A little bit more power under the Mustang, sending it around track here for Suzuka, and a little bit further in the background, Daniel Rowe and his teammate Dino Kier further on in the background, still hunting each other down there as they send it around track. We'll have to see how all of this does slowly start to eventuate. But still, looking back to our top, is that Kieran Patterson is giving Tariq Adams an absolute run for his money here. Tariq Adams not running away with this Grand Prix like he would have hoped to, as Kieran Patterson is keeping him on his toes. 0.4 second gap. And further on behind, Giovanni Porzio has, I believe, trying to hold off from Luke Addison behind, but I believe Luke Addison has gotten the jump on him. He has. So Luke Addison up into third, has made the overtake on Giovanni Porzio, and now Giovanni trying to make up for that mistake which he has lost to Luke Addison. Like we know, all four of them, Tariq Adam, Giovanni Porzio, Luke Addison, and the Sherrits, all lots and lots of friends, as they share lots of common things together on the LFM side of things. So most of them teammates driving here at RaceFace.Pro, enjoying it nonetheless, as Bernard Barkhuizen is starting to pull away now. Where is Henry Mayer? Did Henry Mayer lose out? Did he have a bit of an accident? Let's flashback 30 seconds here. You can see he's still behind the Mustang. Did he lose it in the S's? Okay, a little bit of traction loss there for Henry Mayer. Where did he disappear to though? Because he was right behind the Mustang. Coming out, did he touch? Oh, he touched the gravel on exit, and unfortunately that completely unsettled the car. Sent him off wide, and you lost a lot of positions there. So he's completely out of the fight right now for fifth with Bernard Barkhuizen and Van der Schoeman, as he loses out time after time, down from 6th all the way to 10th. So lost out 4 positions. Thankfully, no damage on that car after losing it off into the gravel. And I must admit, that corner really does suck, because you need to take your entrance very, very well. You need to be accurate on where you deliver that car on the curb and pull it on nicely without letting it touch that outside grass. Otherwise, the grass sort of pulls you in and starts to create a little bit of imbalance on the car, and slowly you start to lose it and the grass starts to claim your car. Back to our virtual grandstand, as you're saying, hey Tristan, what's up? Mr. Brandon Kruger, unfortunately not able to attend tonight's race with some real life things that he's got to do. Nonetheless though, he's enjoying himself right now inside of the virtual grandstand, as he's still wishing he could send it around track, but would rather cheer on his teammates. Brandon Kruger, the teammate of Gideon Reyna, Mac van der Merwe, and Henry Platt, as they still send it on track. Mac van der Merwe a little bit further ahead of Gideon Reyna, as he has made the overtake a little bit further up ahead. Henry Platt has recovered, thankfully, from that little bit of the wobble that he had from Ron van der Walt in the mid-pack over there. 25th right now for the Omnius Gaming Nitro driver, just trying to stick it out for the next 30 minutes as he sends it around track. Dariusz Szymilski, though, also trying to hold on with Jason Gray, both two drivers who we saw pit early due to a little bit of damage caused from that S's incident on lap 1, and now just trying to make the most of it. John Mostert, after serving his stop-go 30-second penalty, down to 34th position. So unfortunate scenes from him. Chantal Hansen has pulled the car into the pit. Not too sure if she's going to pull it out of the pit. Alvin Preem very far down on the grid right now, unfortunately. He's about two or three laps behind everybody else as he begins to pull it around track. Vietio Berta, though, also pulled the car in, unfortunately, only down 1 lap. So he has pulled the car in from that lap 1 incident, and he has called it a night, unfortunately. Not something we like to see. Tinus Berta, someone I'm actually noticing now, I believe he has disconnected because his last clock was 3 laps. Everyone else currently sitting on 7 laps. We cannot access his dash cam. So unfortunate stuff there. He's probably lost connection due to some form of external issue, which is what we hate to see here. We want to see our drivers finish the race. So also to our drivers sitting in pit box, Chantal Hansen and Vietio Berta, I know it's demotivating to have those incidents, especially on turn 1, but you've got 29 minutes left. Make it count. There's no point in putting in the practice and then sitting in the pit box. Get out there, push that car around track. Even if you finish in last, you still finish. That's the main objective, is finishing this race here at RaceFace. There's no point in finishing, or there's no point in sitting in the pit lane, because then you don't finish the race. That's not what we like to see. Everyone else still pushing it around grid. Fleming Bauer trying to catch up to Harry Van Zyl. Harry Van Zyl has had some incredible pace in the Mustang, currently sitting in 11th position. He has had a pretty decent running record for most of the season, but doing incredibly well over here. for Suzuka. It seems like the Mustang having light work at Suzuka with that big engine, just pulling a lot of gap from everybody else, as we can see it also in the top section of our front runners. But Tariq Adams is now slowly starting to run a little bit further away from Kieran Patterson. They had a 0.4 second gap, now down to 0.9 seconds as they start to formulate a bit. But Luke Addison has pulled away now from Giovanni Porzio after getting ahead of him a couple of laps ago, and now pulling away completely. Giovanni Porzio has got a nice big gap though between him and Bernard Barkhuizen. Bernard Barkhuizen under pressure still from Vanna Schoeman and Daniel Rowe after Henry Mayer did lose out after touching that gravel and sending it out wide. So he's still trying to recover that car. You can see him there in the background. And Bernard Barkhuizen just trying to keep everything safe and sound. But further down there, Ryan Barrington-Smith is in a bit of a tail smash over here, following behind Daniel de Villiers. He does have a back marker in front. That's Jason Gray once again having to concede position due to being a back marker. And Ryan Barrington-Smith is fighting for position, but he's absolutely gapped Mac van der Merwe. Been a 7.9 second gap in the past couple of laps. They were originally racing against each other, the battle for 15th, but now Ryan Barrington-Smith claimed that 15th spot and has run away with it completely. So unfortunately, Mac van der Merwe just not able to keep up with him. It's quite crazy to see the two cars right next to each other, the one white with the Nitro car, and then just a little bit behind the green version, the main car, the Omniscami PokerBet driver of Gideon Reyna, sending it behind. You can see them are identical. They look, well, they're essentially the exact same car, just different color scheme as they send it still around this track. Tinas Berta a little bit further behind. No, Tinas Berta, sorry, forgot about that. He's a little bit further. He's unfortunately disconnected. But Quant Duplessis chasing down G Duplessis. It's the battle for the Duplessis here, as it's the Audi versus the Ferrari. Two mid-engine pack runners. The Audi with a little bit better acceleration out of corners. Takes a little bit of a dip there as he comes out of 130R, just not getting the rotation that he wants, clipping that inside curve, just trying to hunt down on the backside of the Ferrari now, seeing what he can do in the Audi. We see him coming across the straight now. He's got a bit better acceleration, but I don't think it's going to be enough to chase down Harry Duplessis. He's actually, funny enough, getting the slipstream. Will he pull onto the inside? He's got it. Will it have enough? Unfortunately not, as Harry Duplessis closes off that gap just in time before the Audi takes advantage of its better rotation and slaps on the brake, blocks the Audi off, sends it into low gears, and that is exactly where the Audi starts to struggle with its traction. So watching as these two fight through for the remainder of the race. Further up though, still on grid, Daniel Rowe is fighting still. He's still got his teammate behind him, but he is chasing down Vanna Schoeman in front, as everyone else still having a good fight. Let's flash back though to the back of our grid. Chris Bauermeister up into 28th after having a very unfortunate Chris Bauermeister, actually don't see him. There he is there. A little bit weird there. I believe he actually lost the car. Let's see if we can get him on another camera. He's actually lost out completely there. Did he lose the car, I believe? I don't think flashing back 10 seconds, unfortunately not. It's not going to be enough. It almost looked like he took the escape road there, potentially just not having the best of exits there out of that tight hairpin. And he's lost out a little bit further down. Jason Gray, though, down in 29th, trying to fight through the main pack of this grid, being a back marker, trying to gain as much as he can while not breaking any form of regulation or rule with being a back marker and obeying the blue flags. Vessel Voda as well, currently in a fight, though, with Ruan Paris, but he is under pressure from a blue flag. Henry Platt in 25th, he is going to have to let him go soon. Henry Platt is going to start to put pressure, and there he goes. He's given the inside line, but he's still trying to hold him off. But Henry Platt will have a little bit of a better exit, holding the inside of Spoon and managing to get out. But now he has to concede that position just to let Henry Platt get in front, holding the outside line. Though it almost looks like he's really fighting Henry Platt over here, but eventually does let him through without sacrificing his lap time and losing out too much speed. Further up though, Daniel de Villiers is still doing an incredible job. He does have a bit of a train though. Ryan Barrington-Smith has caught up exponentially. So Ryan Barrington-Smith really putting the pace on over here at Suzuka. Last lap of a 2 minutes and 5. Daniel de Villiers last lap of a 2 minutes and 2 minutes and 6. So a little bit of differentiation there. Only about a tenth though. So those gainings must have happened a couple of laps before, because they are really on top of each other now. They weren't a couple of laps ago. So we'll have to see how this plans out for Ryan Barrington-Smith and Daniel de Villiers as they continue to put pressure on each other. Christoph Peterson has got a nice bit of a leeway gap right now to Henry Mayer in front. He is going to start to feel it though from Kari van Zyl behind and Fleming Bauer. As you can see them stacking down the hill over here. coming into Spoon as they send it around towards the straight of 130R. Everyone's still doing a phenomenal job. Let's go have a look though at some of our drivers who started at the back due to qualifying bans. Ron van der Walt up into 24th after starting at the back of the grid, fighting it through. Johan Viviers is in 22nd, so that's the son of the driver who started at the back. 19th already for Joan Viviers. So incredible stuff. You can see there's damage even on the front of his car, but he made it work from starting last on the grid and now up into 19th already. So fighting through incidents, and this is exactly what I was talking about at the start of this race, that sometimes starting from the back of the grid can allow you to avoid a lot of mid-pack incidents that do happen, like the massive incident we saw at the start of this race. So John Vivier is capitalizing heavily on that. And funny enough, the driver behind him right now is the driver who was mainly involved in that main S's incident on turn 1, and now chasing each other down. He has gotten past Carrie Duplessis, so the battle of Duplessis has been won by Kwan as he still sends it around in the lightweight Audi. And incredible stuff as everyone else still pulling around track as much as they can. Bernard Barkhuizen has lost out majorly though to Giovanni Porzio. 5-second gap. Vanna Skuman is still chasing him down as well. And further up on grid though, Tariq Adams has started to pull a good gap now to Kieran Patterson. 1.4 second gap between first and second place with 22 minutes left to go. So we are almost at halfway mark here. Actually, yeah, we're about 45. Wow, my math is terrible. Yeah, half of 40 is 20. So half of 45 is, yeah, it's a little bit more. So already past halfway mark here, thankfully. So everyone's still standing around track for the last half here. 21 minutes left of driving. Everyone keeping it nice and consistent. Further down on the grid, Alvin Prim. Currently 1 to 3 laps behind everyone else. Currently sitting with 8 laps. And our race leader sitting with 11 laps. So a little bit further behind, but everyone else also a couple of laps behind. Jason Gray all the way down to Jean Mostard, also 10 laps done instead of 11. So also still trying to pull around track. Chantal Hansen has also unfortunately now left us, as Vietia Botha still sitting in the pit lane. He's got to pull that car out. Ren Ferree as well. Only 9 laps done. He's been sitting in the pit lane. So obviously had a bit of an accident and deciding not to keep on going. We had an accident earlier with our car number 999. Not too sure where number 999 is. Actually can't find our number 999. I see 99. 99 would be the likes of... Did I lose 99? How's this funny? I can't see. I'm blind. There's 99. So 99 is Henry Mayer. But this over here is saying 999. I'm not sure what 999 is. There he is. It's Ron van der Walt. Sorry, I could not find the 999 car. Had a bit of an accident earlier on, and a little bit further behind the 25th, he has lost out to Henry Platt, who's down to 24th. So a little bit of gains there for the Omnis Gaming Nitro driver, capitalizing on the incidents around track, as everyone else still pulling nicely for the last couple of laps here for round 3 at Suzuka for the RaceFace.Pro PokerBet GT3 Sprint Series. Please make sure to stick around for tomorrow night as well for our main race, our RaceFace.Pro PokerBet GT3 Championship. We will be seeing an hour and 20 minutes of racing around Suzuka with pit stops included as well. So that adds the element of strategy into play and can really differentiate things here for these drivers. And don't forget to also check out our socials as well as our sponsor socials, PokerBet, down in the description below. They're the reason that everything here is happening. It's the reason you see them on most of our cars on grid. You can see it on a couple of the cars sponsored on the bonnets around the car. And that's exactly why, because they are the title sponsor here for the RaceFace.Pro PokerBet GT3 Sprint and Championship Series. And they are going to continue to do an incredible job, as so the drivers do so, as they send it around track here for the next 19 minutes. But with 19 minutes left to go, let's go and have a bit of a running order of our grid. So Tariq Adams currently sitting in first place, 1.9 second gap to Kieran Patterson in second position, followed by him Luke Addison in third, followed by Giovanni Porzio in fourth, Bernard Barkhuizen in fifth, under pressure from Werner Skuman in sixth position, Daniel Rowe in seventh, under pressure from his teammate in eighth, Dino Kier, and who's currently fighting the championship leader from last season in ninth, Henry Mayer, followed by Christoph Peterson a little bit further back in 10th, Harry van Zyl in 11th, Fleming Bauer in 12th currently, followed by Bego Kribler in 13th, Daniel de Villiers in 14th, as he's got a bit of a train behind him with Ryan Barrington Smith in 15th, And one of our back markers, Jason Gray, now down in 16th right now, is Mac van der Merwe, with pressure from his fellow teammate Gideon Reyna in 17th. Both of them actually boasting very similar lap times, as you can see them as we flash between the two. So very, very similar performance between both of them. Arno Stadler in 18th position for the Martin Racing, as he's also under pressure from one of our back markers, Darius Shemilski. Down in 19th, Joan Bevere is still putting pressure. He's going to slowly start to feel it from Quan Duplessis, the Ragioli Esports driver, in 20th currently. Followed by him, Kai Duplessis, a little bit further back, the Grandstands Racing Ferrari in 21st. Tinas Buerta, as we mentioned, getting that disconnect. 22nd, Johan Bevere's in the hybrid racing car. Henry Platt in 23rd position for the Omnius Gaming Nitro driving team. Ron van der Walt in 24th for the Pandas and the Infiltrate guys. Henk Petersen in 25th. Down further on, Carrot Bukes in 26th, followed by Henko van den Berg in 27th. Jason Gray in 28th, as we mentioned. We saw him earlier with Ryan Barrington Smith. 29th, Darius Shemilski putting pressure on the top runners. And then followed by Vessel Voda in 30th position. Last with the 2017 as he sent it on track. Chris Baumeister in 31st, trying to keep the car under control. Followed by Dean Dupree in 32nd position in the TT AMG GT3 Evo car. Currently under pressure from the 33rd position driver John Mostert from the Tire Troopers car, as he's got Rian Ferry in 34th, a little bit further behind. And then closing off our remaining drivers is Alvin Priam in 35th position. And respect to Alvin, after having a bit of an eventful start to the race, he's continuing to send it on and remain seated for the next 16 minutes instead of pulling it in and shutting the car off. Oh, very eventful there as he gets a little bit loose over the curbs. But yeah, still incredible performance across our grid. We're going to take a quick 10-second water break and then we'll be back. Alright then, ladies and gentlemen, and back on towards the action throughout our grid. Bego Kribler still sitting in 13th. He has pulled away from Daniel de Villiers, actually. I believe Daniel de Villiers might have had a bit of an accident as he's pulled very far down the grid. Everyone else still forming nicely, but Ryan Barrington Smith now looking aggressive on the backside of Daniel de Villiers as they still progress through. And everyone's still doing an incredible performance. Otherwise, Mac van der Merwe, though, still putting on the pressure with his teammate to follow behind. Both of the bleed green Omnius Gaming cars, one of them Nitro and one of them main team, as they send it around track here for 15 minutes left. It's now, like we mentioned, starting to get a little bit dusk and dawn. Ooh, very, very tire pressured as everyone's starting to feel the way. You can see Darius Shemilski in the background also feeling the way. It might be an overtake now from Gideon Reyna. Everyone putting the hazards on as they start to make an overtake. Gideon Reyna up on the inside now of Mac van der Merwe as he gets a bit of a better run, but he is holding the outside line. Mac holding on the inside line. They do need to remember Andro Stadler a little bit further behind. They might start to sacrifice grid position here, putting a lot of pressure on each other. As you can see, constant pressure, but Gideon Reyna just not getting successful after not getting the inside line. Mac van der Merwe holds it from his teammate Gideon Reyna in behind him, as there's continuous pressure. Can the two keep it clean between each other? We've seen it between Gideon Reyna and Brandon Kruger in previous races where they get a little bit heated and start to give each other a little bit of bumper bashing. But will we see it as well with Mac van der Merwe and Gideon Reyna? Both of them a long line of racing together in the KSR team, and then both of them joining in with the Omnius Gaming guys. Now they are both under pressure from Anro Stadler behind as he started to capitalize on the fighting between these two for the battle for 16th. Bernard Barkhuizen has pitted the car, though. What has happened with Bernard Barkhuizen? I mean, he was just sitting in 5th, having to pull it in now. He's going to lose out to his previous teammates from last season, Mac van der Merwe and Gideon Reyna. Now, so much pressure from Anro Stadler, starting to separate them a lot, but Bernard Barkhuizen has pulled the car in, and I think he's going to retire it. I'm not too sure what happened with Bernard Barkhuizen. Potential disconnect of his wheel or something, but just not getting what he wanted. Down into 22nd now. But still, this fight is intense because you've got a back marker joining in on the fight now as everyone else progresses on further. Ryan Barrington Smith chasing down Daniel de Villiers, and further behind, Mac van der Merwe who's got a long train of cars behind him with Gideon Reina and Andro Stadler, and then Dariusz Szymilski a little bit further behind with the back marker as him. And everyone's still putting so much pressure on each other. Now onto the outside line, Mac van der Merwe is doing everything he can to stay ahead, taking on the outside line. You can see a couple of the drivers passing over them. One of the cool features of Suzuka being an overlapping track. But there is so much pressure going on between each other as they still send it around track. Still, once again, Mac van der Merwe holds the inside line over Gideon Reina coming into the spoon. Will it be enough, though? As Gideon Reina is carrying a good amount of speed. Will he try and dive onto him, or will he keep it safe? He keeps it safe coming into spoon, but you can see the pressure is on between these two as they keep on putting pressure. Gideon Reina might potentially get the better run out of spoon here. Gets a little bit bumpy over the curves. It might now have jeopardized his exit going onto 130R as everyone starts to settle themselves down and back in. Andro Stadler a little bit further on behind, and further on as well. Quan Duplessis might join this fight, followed by Juan Viviers as they start to progress further. Gideon Reina completely off track now, and he's actually lost out to Andro Stadler after that. So unfortunate scenes, he's lost out. Let's flash back as they come through. You can see he just goes onto the outside there of 130R, and sneaking up on his inside line is Andro Stadler, just jeopardizing and making it count. And now the fight is on because Gideon Reina has also lost out to the back marker of Dariusz Szymilski. And guess who's joined the fight? The other green car on grid, the Ragioli driver Quan Duplessis in the Audi, has joined now the battle for 14th, the battle for 15th, sorry. And it's incredible stuff. But now Mac van der Merwe does have the option to run away with this, as he will start to see Andro Stadler feel the pressure from behind, because Dariusz Szymilski might be a back marker, but he's not slow at all. Bernard Barkhuizen back out on track though, down in 26th position, so not too sure what happened there, but he has not had the best of races yet. Having to pull into the pit lane due to unforeseen circumstances, not too sure what happened there, but not enjoying that whatsoever. Down into 26th, Tariq Adam now 3.7 seconds of a gap to Kieran Patterson in second, so everyone doing a monster of a job as they send it around track and keep it clean. Kieran Patterson just trying to stay ahead as he does have Giovanni Porzio behind him. Giovanni has made the overtake on Luke Addison. Oh, accident with the number 55 car that just happened. Gideon Reina has had a bit of a tap here. Let's see what happens and see if we can get a bit of a camera here. Cutting across the inside line. Does he make contact with Quan Duplessis? Not too sure if we just missed it, but we did see an accident pop up on our system. So a little bit of tapping going on between the number 20, the number 194 and the number 55 as they progress. An accident also for the number 146 car. That's Andro Stadler, I believe, also giving a little bit of love taps there to Mac van der Merwe, as everyone just putting immense amounts of pressure on each other coming into these final couple of laps, because we've only got 10 minutes left of racing here for round 3 at Suzuka. You can see the pressure that is being placed by these drivers here. The battle for 15 is extremely tight, as everyone else still keeping it nice and clean. Jason Gray still trying to recover from that first lap incident, currently down in 28th position. John Mostad, after serving his stop go, still down in 32nd, not able to capitalize on that. Chris Bauermeister has pulled into the pit lane, and I believe he has called his race quits. Unfortunately, it's not great to see, but that is unfortunately what has happened. Alvin Preem still sending around track in 35th, getting this race finished with. Once again, major respect to the driver for getting this race over and done with. And Vietia Buerta and Chantal Hansen still sitting in our pit lane. Andro Stadler though, let's flash back with him as he is putting an immense amount of pressure on with Mac van der Merwe. But funny enough, they both got pressure from Dariusz Szymilski. The back marker is showing his worth after that incident in lap 1 where he lost out majorly, and he's wanting to show how fast he can be. Vannes Skuman still chasing down a couple of drivers in front. He's got the back markers ahead, and he's got a massive gap right now to Luke Addison. He was fighting with Bernard Barkhuizen, but after that incident with Bernard disconnecting or unfortunately getting a tow back to the pit lane, down to 26th. So unfortunate scenes from those drivers who did pass down towards the end of the grid. But everyone else still fighting it out as hard as they can. Mac van der Merwe though, still a massive train that he has to maintain with a couple of other drivers. Like we mentioned, still Andro Stadler fighting it out behind him. And this is incredible pace coming from the Nitro driver, pulling it as hard as he can, just trying to keep as consistent as he can. Quan Duplessis now on the backside, two of the Audis fighting with each other as he chases down the back marker, asking for that position, and he has made the overtake on Gideon Reino, who seems to be struggling tonight in the Ferrari for Omnius Gaming. A last lap of 2 minutes of 4. So very, very slow compared to a couple of other drivers. Mac van der Merwe's last lap 2:03. So everyone just not getting a good amount of speed in with the amount of fighting that's going on. And you can see Mac van der Merwe, lots of squabbling going on as he's under pressure. Andro Stadler might make it count now. You can see how close the Martian driver is, pulling onto the outside line. Will it be enough? Mac van der Merwe holds the inside line coming into the first corner, and he holds it off. You can see how he pushes him away and holds it with the Ferrari. But will it be enough? Going through the S's, you can see getting a little bit of a better run out there. Andro Stadler, oh, and a little bit of drivers going off in the background there. Everyone just trying to make it count. 7 minutes of racing left here for round 3. And everyone doing an incredible job to keep these cars intact. The tire wear must be high right now, but we've got an immense battle for 15th right now. Mac van der Merwe, Andro Stadler, and Quan Duplessis. Gideon Reino has dropped off the pace a little bit further down behind, but so much competing going on between the forefront drivers right now as they fight it out further. So incredible stuff throughout the grid. Henry Mayer, though, still up into 6th position. He is going to start to feel it from Dean Nakia, who is catching him slowly but surely. But will it be enough time with 7 minutes left of this race? That is about 3 to 4 laps, depending on when Tariq Adam will finish it off. Currently 4 seconds ahead of Kieran Patterson now, setting continuous and consistent 159s. The last lap 159.8, fastest being a 159 flat. So incredible performance here from Tariq Adam. He's put in the practice and he's showing his worth in that McLaren, how fast he can be, and still keeping everything as fast and consistent as he can be. Luke Addison and Vanna Skuman still sitting respectively 4th and 5th. 8.7 second gap between the two of them as they still fight it throughout the race. But incredible performance from everyone else so far, and still progressing throughout, making it very, very hard for each other. Harry Van Zyl, though, sending around track still in the Pandasty Infiltrate car in 9th position, and he's done an incredible job this race, setting consistently good lap times. But he's got a couple of drivers behind who are setting faster lap times, who are just not getting up there. Bego Krubler, a little bit faster lap time. Same with Daniel Rowe, with the best lap time of a 159.5. Last of a 2 minutes and 5, so he's struggling a little bit there. Ferrari does seem to be a little bit damaged. Daniel de Villiers also a little bit faster lap time. Same with Ryan Barrington Smith. So everyone just playing their part now with 5 minutes left of racing here at Suzuka. Seeing what they can do. Bernard Barkes will now be on the back of Henk Pieterse soon, and Henko van den Berg gets our first drive-through penalty at Suzuka, unfortunately. 27th position with the drive-through is not what you want to see. Unfortunate scenes from him as everyone else still progressing. The fight is still on. Mac van der Merwe is holding off Andro's lost out to Quan Duplessis, but Mac van der Merwe holding everyone off like an absolute champion, maintaining 15th position, jumping over the curbs as hard as he can and maintaining everything possible. But this is going to be a serious fight because Quan Duplessis is showing his worth. He's really, really fast and just lost out from that starting lap incident that has put him a little bit further back, and still fighting it out, trying to make it count. As you can see now, side by side with Mac van der Merwe, trying to make it around the outside, spoons onto the inside line here, coming into spoon. Will it be enough for the two drivers as they are really close with each other? Fighting it nicely up into the line. Mac van der Merwe has the inside line, forcing Duplessis to the outside line, but Duplessis might get a faster run. Better acceleration on the Audi, but gets pushed out wide, and now the gap is open again for Andro Stadler, who is not getting the space he needs. There's contact between Andro Stadler and Quan Duplessis coming into 130. Oh, this could get deadly, and it has gotten deadly. Andro Stadler has made a massive accident behind, unfortunately, crashing into everybody and just not getting what he wanted. Flashback 10 seconds here. Let's go. Oh, we're going to have to go a little bit further back, unfortunately. We'll flash back 30 seconds after this just to see exactly how that happened. But I believe Andro Stadler just not getting what he wanted there. And as you can see over there, let's go to his bonnet cam. Chasing down. I believe he did make contact from behind with the likes of... Yep, he just made contact with Quan Duplessis. And then taps into the Ferrari of, I believe, Bego Krubler. Actually, no, I believe that's a little bit further down. Juan Viviers, unfortunately. and that is an unfortunate scene as he has to get towed back to the pit lane. And our virtual grandstand Java saying, what was he doing? So yeah, I believe Anro Stadler trying to find as much gap as he could there, pushing it around and trying to see where he could slip in, not getting what he wanted, and unfortunately making contact. Joan Vivier's a little bit further down. Actually, Johan Vivier is still fighting with Henry Platt, but Mac van der Merwe still fighting now with Daniel Ronau. And I believe it was, I'm not too sure which hybrid racing driver that was who got the contact from Anro Stadler. There's a couple of them driving in the Ferrari, but very unfortunate scenes. Whoever did might have actually been Joan Vivier's, as I see he's actually disconnected from this race, unfortunately, after that contact potentially. So not the greatest stuff ever, but it's back to original order as Gideon Reyna is now back behind Mac van der Merwe after that incident. So Juan Duplessis did receive a bit of a tap from Anro Stadler and lost his drive into 130R, probably went wide and gave it to Gideon Reyna. So Gideon Reyna once again capitalizing on an incident, back up into second now. Chris Baumeister on the inside line, they're just blocking off, not getting in the way after falling off of the track. And now Gideon Reyna trying to make it count. 2 minutes and 26 seconds left. He knows how Juan Duplessis can get around him very quickly. He's an aggressive and fast driver, but he's only got 2 minutes left to hold here. About 1.5 or so laps here, depending on where our race leader does indeed come across. Still busy with the current lap. So after this lap that the race leader is on, Tariq Adams, it will be our final lap of this race. Still sending it around track in the Ignites McLaren. You can see how fast he is. 6-second gap now to Kieran Patterson. Giovanni Porzio, 2-second gap to Kieran Patterson, and Luke Addison, 2-second gap to Giovanni Porzio. So everyone giving themselves some space as they race it out for the final 2 laps here for round 3 of the RaceFace.Pro PokerBet GT3 Sprint Series. Wow, it's been an incredible race. Everyone putting immense amount of pressure, a couple of accidents happening, and some drivers having some unfortunate circumstances. Ryan Barrington-Smith, though, still on the back of Daniel de Villiers after how many laps of racing as they send it around track over here for the final 1 minute and 23 seconds. This is now or never for Ryan Barrington-Smith, but it's also the defense mayhem for Daniel de Villiers as he's got a fast driver behind, but he wants to keep his position without jeopardizing anything or possibly falling off of the track. The Nissan GTR has done an incredible job up into 13th position with a good driver behind its steering wheel. And there we go. The signal has gone off for Tariq Adam coming across the line for his final time here for the sprint race. Currently sitting in first position and has held it for the entire night, sending it around track, and he's going to continue to do so with incredible speed and performance. The number 33 Ignites car, if all goes well, will cross the line for he's been on the podium a couple of times, but he'll be the first car here for round 3 at Suzuka to cross the line in first position for the week of racing here at Raceface. Henry Mayer still in a bit of a fight with Dina Kier and Werner Schoeman, who will be the victor here. Werner Schoeman currently holding fifth with the big Mustang, and he is got a mid-engine, the McLaren behind, and another front-engine Dina Kier in the BMW in 7th. Everyone's still fighting out though. Bernard Barkhuizen has gained a lot of positions though from a couple of drivers falling off track, and he unfortunately, like we saw earlier, fell off a little bit from I believe it was an incident or a tow back, and just falling off a little bit further back, fell off towards 28th or so, up into 22nd already. So fighting it back as hard as he can. But let's go and have a look though at the 15th place fight though. The fight that we've been waiting and watching to see, and Gideon Reyna has actually lost out to Kerry Duplessis. Where did Kerry come from? Because Kerry hasn't been a part of this, and now all of a sudden he is up into 16th. Gideon Reyna in 17th position, now still staying ahead of Juan Duplessis. We'll have to see how they fight it out. With no time left on the clock, Tariq Adams is on 130R. We do have a yellow flag in our midsection. That's the number 29 car. Let's try and see who that is. Number 29, not able to find them. There we go, number 29. I believe it's Jason Gray, who just went off a little bit, unfortunately, but managed to pull it back on to the circuit. The number 17 also had a bit of an accident. That is the number 17 of a little bit further down grid. We'll have to go find him later, but Tariq Adams just crosses the line. We flash onto him as soon as he has done it, and he finishes first position. Kieran Patterson following in second. Giovanni Porzio follows him down into third position. Luke Addison in fourth. And it's been an incredible race for the top runners. Werner Schoeman coming around. He's got pressure from the drivers behind, but it's going to be enough for him as he starts to weave coming across the final time in 5th, 6th for Henry Mayer, 7th for Dean Nakia, 8th for Christoph Peterson as he comes across in the Honda. Incredible performance from him as well. Further down, Carrie Fundel under pressure from Fleming Bauer and Bego Krubler, but they're going to cross the line together respectively in 9th, 10th, and 11th. Daniel Rowe coming a little bit further down with a damaged Ferrari, nursing it home. And he's done an incredible job to nurse it all the way back. Incredible stuff for the hybrid racing driver, almost actually losing it on the final turn and finishing it off strong and proud in 12th. Daniel De Villiers in 13th with pressure from Ryan Barrington, but not enough from Ryan Barrington-Smith to make it count. Down into 14th, Mac van der Merwe will stay ahead as he actually lets Harry Duplessis. I believe he's ran out of fuel. Mac van der Merwe running out of fuel, coming onto the final lap, and I believe he's just going to get overtaken. Will it be enough for Gideon Reyna to make the overtake on him? Gideon Reyna is actually going to bump him. Oh, and it didn't work out the way they wanted it to, but they crossed the line together. And unfortunate and funny scenes. Mac van der Merwe and Gideon Reyna cross the line together. Johan Vivier is coming across in 17th. Henry Platt also coming across the line. I believe a couple of our drivers have already left the session. Actually, no, they haven't yet. But incredible performance from everyone else as they've come through. A couple of drivers leaving early, which is why we're seeing a little bit of grid changing coming up. And a couple of the drivers not finishing it off where you see they do. But incredible performance nonetheless. Harrod Buke still out on track, finishing the job in 19th. A couple of other drivers, also Ron van der Walt, still coming across as they've pulled in early. Anna Stadler also just not having the race that he wanted to in 24th. And that looks like it's going to be our race as everyone now into pit lanes, just waiting for the session to end as everyone's still sending it around for the last couple of times. Well done from Jarvis to the rest of the grid and the Omnius boys for finishing it off strong as they come across the line and give each other a bit of a bump draft that goes unexpectedly. But that is the race. Not too sure why we are still racing. Ron van der Walt, there we go. Well, folks, incredible race that we got to witness. We're going to head over to a little bit of a breaker and then on to interviews with our couple of drivers in our podium positions. Incredible race, though, nonetheless. Alrighty then, ladies and gentlemen, we are getting ready to wrap up our finishing order there, but incredible job from our top three runners. So Tariq Adams taking it in first, Kieran Patterson coming in second, and Giovanni in third. We've got everyone ready and waiting for interviews. Let's get started though with Mr. Giovanni Porzio for coming across the line in third place for round 3 of the RaceFace.Pro PokerBet GT3 Sprint Series for round 3 at Suzuka. How are you feeling, good sir?
Oh, I'm feeling really good. Had a bit more on qualifying pace, but happy to have got the lap out early. And the race just kept it clean. And yeah, just simple from there.
Incredible stuff. You kept it nice and consistent. How was the fighting with Luke Addison? We noted it here from the commentary box. Constant fighting between you two. I think near the beginning, Luke Addison took the position from you for third. And then a little bit later on, you overtook him once again. How was that fight throughout the sprint?
Yeah, so we basically, before the start of the race, well, me and Luke used to be teammates at Genesis. I basically said, look, if I'm holding you up, you can go through. And he said, cool, I'll try go for Patterson. If I can't get him, I'll give you the place back. So I appreciated that from him. Unfortunately, him and Patterson had Luke understeered off before the Degner, and I got the position back. So just had to keep my head down from there.
Well, unfortunately, not able to catch Kieran Patterson. It seems like the front two were flying a little bit, but still incredible performance to bring it back down into third. And this should be some pretty good practice going into our championship race for tomorrow night. How did the track feel, especially in the Ferrari?
It felt pretty good. I was running quite high TC to deal with sliding in Sector 1. In the race, though, I did notice the tires dropped off a bit, so I'm probably going to have to work on the race setup just to make it a bit easier and, yeah, better for the tires.
Absolutely. Well, that's all that it's about, and that's also why it's nice having the sprint race, getting a little bit of preparation, understanding the car around the track to send it around for an hour and 20 minutes tomorrow night. But once again, incredible performance. I'm going to give you the floor to address any of our amazing petrol heads in the virtual grandstand, as well as any of your team members or anyone who assisted you in preparation for this race, and as well as our fantastic sponsors here at RaceFace for making all of this happen.
Oh, thank you to PokerBet for hosting and sponsoring RaceFace, and thank you to my parents, my biggest supporters. I really appreciate them, and to Luke, Tariq, and all my friends. Thank you for everything.
Absolutely incredible stuff. Well, enjoy your night of celebrations, coming across the line in third for the sprint race, and looking for high hopes tomorrow night in the championship. Have a fantastic night, Mr. Giovanni, and we'll see you on track for tomorrow.
You too. Thank you very much. Enjoy your evening.
Incredible stuff. We've got our chat now with our third place. We're going to move over to our second place position. The man who went from hitting sixes to hitting the podiums back into RaceFace, winning it, well, coming in second place, chasing down Tariq Adam for round 3 at Suzuka. Mr. Kieran Patterson back on grid at RaceFace. How are you feeling after that round, good sir?
Ecstatic, sir. Really am. I mean, my goal for the season is just to finish top 10s or top 5s. Ideally, that would be great, top 5s. But to finish on a podium, I'll take it any day of the week.
Well, you literally did that. You did an amazing job of keeping very consistent. You kept up very nicely to Tariq Adams. Towards the end, you started to drop off a bit. I want to just give you allow you to give a bit of insight towards our virtual grandstand. What started happening towards the mid-pack of the race? We slowly started to see the gap increase between you and Tariq.
The car itself just doesn't work through sector 1. It's a bullet down the straight, as everyone knows, and as you guys have all seen. But trying to slalom through sector 1, it's a serious weak point. So, yeah, obviously that then slides, screws up the tires, and we lose a little bit of more grip and time that we can find in sectors 2 and 3. But yeah, the McLaren's just a better all-round car as well as the Ferrari. So I eventually didn't have any more legs to catch him.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, you still did an incredible job coming across the line in second position. You've done incredible in our previous rounds. How are you looking, A, going into our tomorrow night's race for the championship, and B, looking forward to next week already, trying to plan a little bit ahead? How are you feeling going further on into the championship here?
I'm feeling quite surprised as to how things have gone first season back. Again, like I said, the goal was just to finish top 10s or top 5s. So if I finish in the top 10 for the championship, I'm happy days. So going into tomorrow, it's nice to see that I've got enough pace to actually run up there with some of the main guys. So hopefully tomorrow goes well, and then we'll see what happens next week.
Absolutely incredible stuff. Well, once again, phenomenal performance for coming across the line in second. I'm going to give you the floor to mention any of our amazing petrol heads in the virtual grandstand, as well as any of your team members or anyone who assisted you in preparation for this race. And then last but not least, our fantastic sponsors here at RaceFace that makes this happen.
Thanks everyone for the support. Thanks to you for your great work in the box, as well as covering for Stephen, or you work with him. So yeah, it's nice to at least allow everyone to watch the race. Thanks to all the supporters that are out there. You guys know who you are. And thanks to Go Setups for helping us with the setup.
Absolutely incredible stuff. Well, enjoy your night of amazing celebrations. Coming across the line in second is no short feat, and now you have some great insight for the car going into tomorrow night's race. Wish you the best of luck in preparation, and we'll see you tomorrow night back on track here at Suzuka.
Yes, thanks Tristan. Cheers guys.
Awesome stuff, ladies and gentlemen. We head into our final interview of the night. Our first place, once again, coming across with the podium, it's Tariq Adams in the McLaren here at Suzuka with an incredible 7-second gap in first. How does it feel?
Hi, thanks. Yeah, it's good. A bit unexpected. I really did not expect this result at all. It was quite like rushed and unprepared coming into the race today. I literally got home 10 minutes before. Literally didn't even have a race setup, so that's why I was struggling at the start of the race. My race setup was feeling fairly bad. Yeah, so unprepared, but managed to make it work, and hopefully tomorrow will be a bit better.
Well, I mean, with shortfall preparation and coming in 10 minutes, you sure doesn't look like someone with that little preparation. With setting, I mean, incredible lap times, 158s, and pulling, like I said, 7-second gap towards the end of the race. How did the McLaren start to feel? Like you mentioned, you said you struggled in the beginning with the setup, but you slowly did start to even it out and feel a little bit more comfortable throughout the rest of the race. So how did it feel as the race did progress?
Yeah, well, I had a good baseline because I did actually practice a few quali laps yesterday and the day before. So I had a good quali setup, a good base setup. Then tried to make it a bit safer for race. Then I didn't do any laps on the setup, so that's why at the start I was struggling just to feel what the car's doing. But then after a few laps, once I felt how it was handling, what to do, how to drive it, it got a bit better. And then yeah, the McLaren struggles compared to the Ford in the straights. The Ford just eats everything on the straights, but in Sector 1 it's a bit better. So yeah, I just had to pull the gap in Sector 1 as much as I could and not kill the tires too much. So that's how the race went basically.
Well, exactly what you said is exactly what happened. It's the same thing that we spoke about Kieran Patterson. He mentioned the Ford really struggling in turn 1 through the S's and then just dominating on the straights. But you did manage to keep it ahead during the S's and keep that McLaren nicely ahead. How are you looking with the confidence behind you? I mean, you've done some incredible work through the first couple of rounds here for the sprint and the championship. How are the nerves and the confidence is looking going into the next couple of rounds and races?
Yeah, I mean, it's looking good. I'm just kind of a bit more here for fun because towards the end of the season, I'm not going to be able to actually participate. So just here for the vibes of the teammates, supporting each other, having some fun, good racing. So yeah, I'm confident going into tomorrow, but once Cody and Jordan come tomorrow, I think it'll be a different story.
Absolutely incredible. But still, regardless, you came across the line in first position tonight, once again for Suzuki. You know how the car feels, you've understood it, and you've got an hour and 20 minutes tomorrow of racing. And so we'll wish you the best of luck. We wish you the best of preparation for tomorrow, and we'll see you back on track. But we're going to give you the floor now to mention any of our amazing petrol heads in the virtual grandstand, as well as anybody who assisted you in the preparation of this race. And of course, our amazing sponsors here at RaceFace who made this happen.
Yeah, thanks to you for putting on the show, putting up the stream, for the viewers for watching, my teammates for supporting each other, Luke, Jordan, Cody, Gio, Fenta, all of them. Yeah, thanks to them, and let's see what we can do tomorrow.
Awesome, awesome stuff. Well, we wish you the best night of celebrations, and we'll see you tomorrow night, once again in the dark at Suzuka.
Awesome, thank you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that about wraps it up here for Suzuka for tonight's racing of the sprint race. It's been an incredible one, and we've gotten some good insights of what to look for tomorrow night's race. We've heard it from some of our interviewees where the Mustang really struggles through the mid-pack, so we can understand it's going to be similar for most of our front-engine cars, and then dominating, especially on the 130R straight and the main straight. And we have to pay attention to that tomorrow, especially with strategy coming into play. But that is it for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for attending this race, and please make sure to leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it, and go ahead and hit that bell as well as that subscribe if you are wanting to follow us for the future events. And don't forget to go look in our description for our amazing title sponsor, PokerBet. They have brought all the action and the competition for this season of RaceFace.Pro, and they're only looking to heat up the competition further. So once again, thank you so much for the virtual grandstand. Don't forget about tomorrow night. Tomorrow night we've got the main race, the 1 hour and 20 minutes race around Suzuka. That's for the Pro and Pro-Am division, and we are looking to send it heatful and sending it beautifully around track. But like always, everybody in the virtual grandstand, I hope you have a fantastic night, and a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, everybody. Have a great night further, and we'll see you tomorrow night. Cheers.
With all the amazing racing that comes to you weekly, we have to give acknowledgement to our sponsors. Without them, this would not be possible here at RaceFace.Pro. So starting off with our first sponsor, let's go and take your hats off to PokerBet for all the tournaments, for all the cash games, daily free rolls, and sports betting. There's no better place to be and win with PokerBet. With it all revved up and you're looking for high speed, whether you're into drag, drift, or even long circuit, Red Star Raceway has got you covered. If you're looking to upgrade your car or make sure it's running slick and smooth, go head over to Extreme Service Centre to get you that full mile across the race line or whether you go to the dash. Sliding in to keep you on your toes, Scallywags, Drift Academy will keep you right at the top of the pack. And if you're looking for all your streaming needs, head over to Tango Tech for all the overlays. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's been an honor having you.